How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Delighted to have you with me. I hope your turkeys are thawing. They need to be. Now, here's what you do if you've forgotten to thaw your turkey. Tomorrow, you fill up your sink in your kitchen with water and you put your turkey in it. And every couple of hours, you drain the water and add fresh water. Don't make it hot water. It needs to be the cool water from the tap, not hot water. Don't use hot water. And in a few hours, your turkey will be thawed, and then you put it in the fridge. But you should have taken your turkey out by now. I want to pause on all the other topics of the day. I actually want to spend a few moments here talking about thankfulness. Before we all head out on the holidays, some of you on the road right now listening to me. In 2006, a few days before Christmas, as many of you know, doctors announced my wife had 6 months to live. She had, they said, a rare form of cancer. It had spread to her lungs. There really wasn't anything that could be done. We had a 1-year-old. And by the way, I'd been told my job was coming to an end the same day that my wife was given 6 months to live with that diagnosis. Thankfully, it was a misdiagnosis. Not only did I keep my job, I kept my wife. 10 years later, in 2016, doctors informed my wife they suspected she had a genetic form of lung cancer. In fact, had she not been misdiagnosed in 2006, they would not have known about her lung cancer in 2016. My wife, in fact, does have stage 4 lung cancer. It's genetic. There's no cure. 9 years ago, she was given 2 years to live, and she's still here. Thankfulness can be a very abstract concept for a lot of us. We're all grateful for things. We're thankful for things. We thank people. Often our gratitude comes from random events, seeming accidents, happy coincidence. We don't often think about a man upstairs guiding our lives, let alone our history. Things happen. We're thankful for dodging bullets, unanswered prayers, answered prayers, the kindness of random strangers, of family, of friends. And then as we become more successful in life, it's oftentimes harder to be thankful for small things. Small things loom large for all of us when we're small, and in the small space of life, starting out career before life explodes into family and debt and career, success and income. Then many of the acts of kindness, gratitude, and thankfulness, they shrink in comparison to where we are. A $20 bill is immeasurably larger and a greater act of kindness to a struggling 20-something than a well-off 40-something. It's still an act of kindness. It just seems smaller based on where we are in relation to it. The thankfulness just kind of changes. It's like when we're kids and we go to our grandparents' house and it seems so large and big, and then as we get older and we go to the same house, how small it seems. Thankfulness is sometimes measured in relation to where we are or how old we are. 2 months ago, my wife fell down the stairs on the way to church. She broke her foot. She was healing from that and wound up getting hospitalized with an illness a month ago. The week after she got out of the hospital, my dad got put in the hospital. I'm very thankful for my sisters and my mom who are closer to my parents, and my sisters could help take care of them while I tended to my wife. I'm thankful that the doctors were able to help my wife and all the offers to help. I'm really thankful as I get older, honestly, for the prayers of other people than I was when I'm young. Now, I'll pray. It's a Southernism, like bless your heart, and asking how somebody's doing when you're not really interested in the answer. It's what you say, not necessarily what you mean. How are you? That's the new hello. You don't really care how they are. It's just the new hello. Except when I tell people these days I'm praying for them, I mean it, and I'm more appreciative as I get older as people really do it for me. And this last month has been a whirlwind on family health and work and professional growth and setbacks. Friends offer casseroles. Neighbors sometimes want to cover dinner. It's actually far less meaningful now than their heartfelt prayers. I'm thankful for every single one of them. I'm thankful for their meals, their offers to pay for dinner. But I'm actually increasingly, as I get older, thankful for the sacrifice of time to make room in somebody's prayers for me, not just them. We live in extraordinary and bizarre times. We have right now a robot roaming Mars taking pictures. We've got a massive telescope in space beaming back incredible images of the edge of space. Online and on television, we've got clowns performing for our attention, our vote, our support, and they're generating anxiety. They want our clicks, and in exchange, they give us anxiety and existential terrors and maybe a desire to unplug from it all. Why tune in when you can tune out? It's far more pleasant. So thank you for sticking around and listening to me. Thinking and engaging and being grateful and thankful in a civic society is a civic virtue, and it's necessary. When we do it, we should at least consider the small things for which we're thankful, the small acts of kindness, the random events that just happen and we thank God for them. I'm thankful for the surprises in life that make me appreciate a life still with my wife. Don't forget to be thankful this holiday season. Don't forget to say thank you to people. We all have so much to be thankful for. I am thankful for all of you listening. I'm thankful for the radio stations that have put me on, for the people who have given me a chance to prove myself on radio. I'm thankful for an extraordinary team around me who's able to get me on the radio and keep me going, guide me, and sometimes tell me when I'm off my game. And I am thankful to live in this country. There is a growing movement in this country to not be grateful for this country. As my friend Rush Limbaugh pointed out many times over the years on his own program, when the Pilgrims first came over here in 1619 or so, they nearly starved to death. We don't really know what happened to the ones in Roanoke. The ones who landed in Plymouth, they nearly starved to death. They were communal farmers. They shared the land together, and they gave us a great lesson in private property rights. It's one of the essential foundational stories of American history, not slavery. You see, the 1619 Project was designed to delegitimize the United States, and it's worked for a lot of people. The real story of the United States is not slaves coming to this country sold by their fellow Africans in 1619 to white people. The real story is what happened up in Plymouth, where the Pilgrims came, and they nearly starved to death. I think it was Winthrop or Witherspoon one who wrote in his diary that actually that the experiment in collective farming failed, nearly wiping them out. And so what he, the governor of the Massachusetts colony, did was he gave each family a plot of land and told them, you farm it and you take care of yourself. And you store up the produce that you need. And then you give and sell, barter, exchange what extra you have to those who weren't as profitable as you when it came to farming. And guess what? All the families were able to take care of themselves and meet their own needs. They didn't rely on the government. They relied on themselves. They had that great Thanksgiving with the Indians that we all celebrate this Thanksgiving, where the Pilgrims, nearly starved out, had the Indians show them how to farm better, how to hunt better, how to fish better. It was a collaborative effort. And it is one where we could have had a nation that was founded on collectivism, and instead we came to respect private property rights because we saw and were reminded every time individuals were given the land for themselves to do with as they wished, they made better decisions than the collective. It's a quintessential American story, and it's one that a lot of people have tried to debunk, and they can't because we have the diaries of the people who were there. We have the diaries of the governor explaining the dire circumstances. We have the writings of the citizens and how they all nearly starved to death and what happened when instead they divided the land and each family got land to keep as their own and to farm. We have the great experiment in Oklahoma with the Homestead Act, where they allowed people to go out and take land and set up for their families as we settled the West and expanded this country. The essentiality of private property rights of individuals, of a free market economy. I see now a lot of people, they want to talk about post-liberalism, post-colonialism, colonialism and the like. They're using the language of the left. They're actually using the language of Marx. When they talk about these things, you need to understand that, yes, they are using the language of Marx. When you talk about this stuff, you need to understand what the real truth is, because there's a real hatred for truth, because there's a real hatred for you being thankful for where you are, because there is a real effort on the far right and the far left to undermine the foundational story of this country, because it is necessary for them to do so to rebuild the country in their own image. And part of what you must do to not be dragged into the hate and the contempt for this country is simply to practice basic thankfulness. To be thankful for your family, for your God, for your friends, for your community, and for your nation. Just to be thankful. Be thankful that the pilgrims came over. That be thankful that they nearly failed but didn't, and in the process succeeded. That they embraced each person's individual hard work, this Protestant work ethic that made this country what it is, that we should not abandon. That they were willing to sacrifice. So each generation typically has sacrificed less, though we're in danger of some believing they have to make no sacrifice at all and the country is bad if they have to sacrifice any. No, everyone has had to sacrifice, some more than others. But be thankful for the country. I am very thankful for this country. I am thankful for its founding. I am thankful for the true story of its founding, not the 1619 Project revisionism, not the revisionism of the new right, but the actual story of people coming here to claim freedom, to start again, to build new lives, to embrace the idea of America. Yes, blood and soil, we are a people and a land, but we're also a people founded on an idea. And I'm thankful for that idea, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I am thankful that great men came before us and founded this nation on solid, time-tested, timeless ideas so that we could prosper. And again, I'm thankful for you listening. And I am thankful that I have a life where I still have my wife. And I'll get up on Thursday morning at 4 a.m. and put turkeys on a smoker and then ferry them up to my in-laws for the day. I've got sweet potato pies to make and a few other things to make. I'm thankful I've got a family that'll enjoy it. And I'm thankful that I fell into this job by accident where I can just sit here behind a microphone for a few moments and encourage you to meditate on your thankfulness this week. The small things and the big, they all matter. And to the extent that you can remember to be thankful for the small things and the big things, you can recalibrate your heart away from the anxiety of the times where so many people want to keep you anxious and not have you think about your thankfulness. Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program. Donald, you're going to be up next. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Eric. You're stealing my thunder today. I've been on this whole idea that our House of Representatives has been far undervalued for a long time. Background, I have a degree in history with a concentration in colonial. If you take the 435 number that was originally set, based upon the population of, well, let me revert back. The 1929 Act that set the 435, at that time the population was 123 million. Mm-hmm. Just assuming total population, not who could vote, that would come out to about 300,000 people per representative.
Right.
By today's standards, we should then have about 1,100 representatives. Now, if you go back further to the first colonial census, assuming total population, pushing it up, let's call the total population in 1790 of 4 million. That means we should have somewhere in the neighborhood of 33,000 representatives, which would be a person per 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Which to me is much more manageable than what it is today.
Yeah, it would probably bankrupt us to have that many with the staff and all, but I mean, we're already bankrupt. But, you know, I mean, to your point, and thanks, Donald, for the information, is the members of Congress are called representatives because they're supposed to represent you. And if they have no way of ever knowing you because their districts are too large, well, then we're in the mess we're in. And we don't really have a representative democracy or representative republic in Washington, D.C. because of it. That's the problem. 877-973-7425 is the number. Let me tell you about Americans for Prosperity because they want to get you involved in the process so that you're seen and heard by the representatives who try to avoid you, down to your local level at school board and local government, the state government. AFP gets you involved in the process. And if nothing else, they just keep you informed on the common sense conservative solutions that are percolating out there that can be advanced in states. Even a number of Democratic states have embraced some good common sense conservative reforms that AFP has put forward, like the REINS Act that reins in the bureaucrats at the state level and the federal level, making state legislatures and Congress have to approve things that would be too super taxing to businesses and individuals from a regulatory level. They've got some great ideas. They'd love to get you involved. They have chapters in just about every state. The website is afpvolunteer.com. I'm on their board of advisors that go around the country doing events for Americans for Prosperity, and I see how they get engaged down to the local level, connecting activists together, helping mobilize the vote in elections, and also shifting public conversations towards common sense policies like school choice and regulatory reform. Go to afpvolunteer.com today. Sign up with Americans for Prosperity. Be engaged in your community for common sense conservative reforms. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. Let's go to the phones. Mark, you're up next. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, and I wanted to say I'm thankful that you have your radio show on.
Thank you.
It's very thought-provoking, and that you don't hear many like that.
Thanks very much.
What I want to talk to you about today is this ACA or Obamacare tax credits that they've got. And the bills are out for next year. They went up 18%, not 300%, like Schumer was saying. And the premium tax cuts are there. But the enhanced premium tax cuts are going away. And I didn't know anything about them. I was never even offered the enhanced premium tax cuts. But the more I hear about it, and I did some checking into it, it was done during the pandemic. There's no qualifications. They have lucrative subsidies that put the premium to zero per month. And it seems to me everybody's complaining about this, hadn't paid in 4 years anyhow, but they're saying this is going away and they want to make that permanent. And they all seem to be sports people and are connected to the government some way.
Well, so the actual the premium subsidy, it actually is a direct payment to insurance companies. It's not to you and me. And that payment to the insurance companies covers the rise in healthcare costs that came from COVID. This is part of the problem. Is the Democrats themselves voted to get rid of this subsidy. I'm not making that up. It's not a lie. The Democrats voted to get rid of the subsidy. Why? Because it was never intended to be permanent. It was intended to help people during COVID. They extended it by a bit and then got rid of it. But when the Republicans took over, the Democrats decided they could use this as a wedge with voters. And they've been pretty successful, I think, in trying to drive a wedge between voters and the Republicans. The Republicans, of course, don't want to extend it at all. But the Democrats do. The president's solution would be to make direct payments to individuals, but then those people would have to remit it to healthcare companies. Here's the problem. True story. It is November 25th, 2025, right now. What is the Republican plan on healthcare? The Democrats united around Obamacare. Republicans have never put forward any sort of comprehensive plan. Some of them are scared to because they think it'll be politically radioactive the moment they do, but most of them, they don't have a plan. The Democrats beat no plan with a plan. And it's a bad plan and it doesn't work, but what is the actual Republican legislative solution to Obamacare? Obamacare was passed in 2010. It's now 2025. There's no plan in place by the GOP. None. The GOP's got to come up with something. I just think this is a problem. And I think there are solutions out there. There are solutions like allowing small businesses to pool together, reducing the mandatory coverage for insurance, making insurance more portable, allowing people to essentially banning businesses from giving you your health care insurance and forcing you to shop on the market, providing more competition. That would force prices to come down, whether you like it or a lot of people don't like the idea, but it would force prices to come down because people would have to individually buy their insurance. You know, the product of giving your health care through your employer came in World War II when wages were frozen during World War II. And so businesses competed by offering health care benefits and it stuck. So there are plans out there on the right, but none have been offered in Congress, none of them comprehensive. And, of course, the Democrats would demonize them and demagogue them. The Republicans have done the same thing to the Democrats over time, too. But the Democrats bandied together and got something passed and were willing to lose it all to get something passed, knowing the GOP would never change it. And guess what? The GOP has never changed it. So the Republicans don't have a plan. The president's trying to do something. I think extending the subsidies is terrible, but the GOP at some point needs to come up with an actual health care plan. Clint, you're going to be up next on the Eric Erickson Show. Welcome.
Hey, Eric, first-time caller, long-time listener. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I just wanted to touch base on the health care that you were talking about. There's a big uproar with Donald Trump and his big, beautiful bill that's saying that nursing and physician's assistants and nurse practitioners isn't a qualified degree or job anymore. Do you shed some light on that? Is it just for the students that are in school now where they actually get rid of it, which I don't see they will because you're going to have long waits in doctor's offices and things like that. I just don't see how that will go through or work.
Honestly, what I am familiar with now is there's some sort of plan in place. Well, no. What am I thinking of? There's a rumor on left wing sites that
right.
They're going to disqualify nurse practitioners from being able to serve or being able to qualify to get insurance payments or some such. I'm unaware of any Republican plan to rein in nurse practitioners. In fact, the one Republican plan I know of that was pushed by the Heritage Foundation and advanced by Mike Johnson would have expanded the abilities of nurse practitioners to practice in the country without expanded ties into doctors' offices. So nurse practitioners would be freed up to do more medical practice without being directly tied to a doctor. I'm unaware of any Republican effort to restrict how nurse practitioners work in the country. Everything I have seen has been to expand them. Now, caveat here. One of the issues has to do with the H-1B visa program. A lot of doctors in the country are doctors who come in from abroad in rural healthcare areas. So in rural parts of the country, a lot of nurses and doctors come in on H-1B visa programs because Americans don't want to serve in those places. And the only proposal I'm aware of that would restrict nurse practitioners and doctors is the H-1B visa restrictions, and the public health sector in the country is upset about it and pushing very hard that if the government reins in H-1B visa programs, they exempt health care because of the rural mandate. And whether you like H-1B visas or not, and listen, I've got issues with them, and I understand the fraud and corruption that can come with it, but you go to any small town or small city in rural parts of this country and go to the local hospital, and most of the doctors and nurses are not from this country. And by the way, they're very good. My father was in the hospital a few weeks ago in rural Louisiana, and his doctor was from India, and he was a very, very good doctor. My wife's doctor I think he's an American citizen now. He was here, I think, on an H-1B visa for a while. Wonderful doctor. He's from India. We've got down the street from me, I had to go to a kidney doctor. I had some blood work that came up badly, and they made me go to this kidney doctor. And the white American doctors at the major hospital were telling me she is the best doctor around for any kidney issue whatsoever. And she's from India. And by the way, she's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. She took one look at my blood work and said they misread your labs. Seriously, I went in. The doctor's like, "Oh, there's something wrong. There's something wrong." So I went in, and she said, "They misread your labs. We're going to do this one test, and I think you're going to be fine." And I was fine. And she said, "Stop coming back." But I'm not aware. I realize that there are rumors circulating on left-wing sites that they want to do something to curtail nurse practitioners in this country, but I suspect that's designed to whip people into a frenzy to try to make them mad to go vote. But I don't actually believe there actually is a plan to do that, because every Republican plan I've seen involves expanding nurse practitioners in this country, frankly, to save money. Bob, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
How
Can
are
you hear
you?
me?
Yes.
I'm doing well. Long-time listener, don't necessarily agree with you all the time, but the show makes me think, so kudos to you.
Thank you.
I heard today you were discussing about increasing the number of representatives to represent the country, and I wondered if you ever looked into like how the Swiss handle their government, where the representatives aren't so much concentrated in one spot, but rather serve their individual states or cantons. And that seems to give the local people have to vote on the various topics that are coming up and give their representative direction. I'm not so sure that would work in the states given some of the voter participation rates, but just wondering if you've ever looked into that.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it's not just that I've looked into it. The founding fathers looked into it. The part of our constitutional system was inspired by what the Swiss were doing 250 years ago. Now, they have updated the way it works in the 1800s. But yeah, to a degree, there is some component of direct election and proportionality based on population. The Council of States has 2 seats per state. There are a lot of people who want proportional representation in this country, and I just don't think that we're going to get proportional representation because I think it would be a very bad idea. It causes destabilization in European countries. By the way, a buddy of mine, while I was talking to my last caller on nursing, they sent me a link that Newsweek says what he thinks they're talking about is that the Department of Education has decided nursing is no longer considered a professional degree. That is a change of a regulatory terminology they claim was put in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, but the Department of Education press secretary says this is a fake news. The department has had a consistent definition of what constitutes a professional degree for decades, and the consensus-based language aligns with historic precedent. The committee, which includes institutions of higher education, agreed on a definition that we will put forward in a proposed rule. We're not surprised that some institutions are crying wolf over regulations that never existed because their unlimited tuition ride on the taxpayer dime is over. So now what is this? The change impacts hundreds of thousands of students. There are over 260,000 students currently enrolled in entry-level Bachelor of Science and Nursing programs, 42,000 enrolled in associate degree in nursing programs. Many have warned the move to reclassify nurses as not a professional degree would drop the number of nurses in the country. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act and the Grad Plus program is designed to help graduate and professional students cover educational expenses. It's being eliminated. The measures were brought in with the intention of creating a new and simplified repayment assistance program. The Department of Education decided to change the definition of what counted as a professional program and thereby eligible for the $200,000 aggregate level available for professional students. The department determined the following programs were professional: medical, pharmacy, dentistry, optometry, law, veterinary medicine, osteopathic medicine, podiatry, chiropractic, theology, and clinical psychology. It means that physicians, assistants, nurse practitioners, physical therapists, and audiologists were excluded from the list. Now, however, what the Department of Education says is that actually this is related to professional degrees, and a lot of nursing programs are bachelor degrees. They're not advanced graduate degrees. Therefore, the situation is moot. That's what it's about, that if your nursing degree comes from a bachelor's program, then you're not affected by the change because this is a grad school change, not an undergraduate degree program change. So you're not impacted. That's what the Department of Education says. There are some colleges that treat nursing programs as graduate degree programs. They will be impacted, but colleges that continue to treat it as a Bachelor of Science in Nursing or an associate degree will not be impacted. It's the people who treat it as the colleges that treat it as a master's program will be the ones impacted. So that appears to be what we may be talking about. And yes, there is that change there, but it's more of a technical change than anything. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. I want to play this clip from Sean Duffy. I tend to agree with him on this.
Civility. Some of you might have noticed that we've launched a civility campaign. And I think it's important as we travel that we think about not just ourselves, not just our families, but we think about those who are around us. And we call our better angels. In a busy time, and again, the airports are going to be packed. TSA lines may be a little longer. And as you might not be able to find a seat as you're by your gate because of the number of flights that are going out or coming in. But I think we have to think about how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think again I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive.
Can I just say I agree with him? There actually is ample sociological data that shows when you put more thought into your dress, it is reflected in attitudes and behaviors. If you show up and you're just wearing your yoga pants and T-shirt, you're showing up, you're wearing something, you look like a slob, it is reflected in your attitudes, how people treat you and how you treat other people. There actually is sociological research on this, and I continue to believe that as we have allowed our behaviors to decline in this country and our dress to decline in this country, the nation itself is declining. Call me a fuddy-duddy on that, that's fine. And listen, I wear jeans and a hoodie on a plane, and I'm comfortable, and you want to be comfortable on a plane. They've made planes uncomfortable. I get it. But there's a big difference between jeans and a hoodie and your holy T-shirt and your pajama bottoms and slippers on the plane. And for the love of God, people, do not take your shoes off on a plane and prop your feet up. That's gross, 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 gross. Barefootedness on a plane should get you the death penalty as far as I'm concerned. Good Lord, people. Sean Duffy is right on this. Also, it's high stress. A lot of people are traveling. Just be nice. Just the civic virtue of just being nice to people and being forgiving and charitable to people. It really does matter. Hillsdale College actually has a class on civic virtue and ethics by Aristotle. You can take that and many of their other classes for free. EricForHillsdale.com, ERICK. EricForHillsdale.com. They would love to have you. The classes are at no charge to you. Every one of them consists of 30-minute videos, depends on the number of videos per class. They've got on whether it's capitalism or ethics and civility. They've got classes on Shakespeare and C.S. Lewis and the early Roman Republic, the early American Republic, the history, theology, political science, philosophy, English, literature, chemistry, math, economics. They've got them all, and you get smarter with great education. They're all very entertaining. They're all very engaging, and they're at no cost. What do you have to lose? Go to ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up with Hillsdale College today. Get smarter at no cost to you and learn a little bit about Hillsdale in the process.